What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sideline NBA edition. We're here every Wednesday at noon, and we break down, discuss the current state of the NBA. I'm your host, Matt Sampson. Before we get started, make sure like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell your friends. Let's get into it. I'm joined by, as always, Sam and T. And guys, big week of NBA action. A lot happened, a lot of changing, shifting storylines. But the most relevant topic everyone's talking about, Kevin Durant is injured again for the Phoenix Suns. He was playing really well for the Suns right before he got hurt. He potentially is going to be out for the rest of the regular season. They're going to reevaluate him in 3 to 4 weeks. Big blow for the Suns. T, what do you think about this?
So as we talked about on last week's podcast, I did think the Suns were my favorites out of the West. Mm-hmm. After this week, people are starting to say, heck, even the Kings might be the favorite out of the West with the way they've been playing. But obviously, originally when KD got injured, they said it was going to be the rest of the regular season. But luckily, it's only 2 to 3 weeks now. So with Phoenix in the standings, I mean, I don't think they should have that much challenge with whoever their opponent is in the first round. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be able to withstand this couple weeks without KD because Booker's been playing really well. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about them, but it definitely sucks for that to happen to them.
Sam, do you agree with T in the fact that you think despite this injury, the Suns won't have any problem once he's back and they'll be the favorite out of the West?
I don't know. I think it might be similar to that Warriors team with KD. You know how he was hurt and then he got hurt in the finals?
You think he's going to get hurt again after he comes back from
I think
this?
There's a chance just because of how he's been health-wise recently. Like, he's had quite a few injuries, and especially for a taller guy of his stature, like anything under his torso, like that gets injured, definitely sustains like more likelihood of injuring or re-injuring those same appendages that he injures.
Reed.
I mean, listen, he's one of the best scorers of all time. It's definitely a big loss for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he can sustain the same like energy that he brought prior to this injury.
I kind of agree with like both you guys. Like, I think it's fair. Like, he's a walking injury. Like in the past, I feel like since he's got to Brooklyn, like he hasn't been able to stay healthy for a whole season. Maybe that 1 year they lost to the Bucks, he was healthy for. But I think I agree with you, T, just because when he was on the floor with those guys in those, 4 games, they looked unbelievable. And if he comes back before the playoffs, whoever they play in the first round, I mean, it might be a tough team, but they should probably like win that series. So that would be kind of like a get-back series for him. I agree, though. If he's playing, they should be the clear favorite. Because you're seeing Denver skidding a little bit now, too. So
there was also a report that came out that KD said himself he would have played, if this was the playoffs right now, he would have played through this because, a lot of people, if they sprain their ankle, if they're not getting paid $40 million a year, they're going to play through it because they need the money,
I mean, even the video, it didn't look, I mean, if you guys seen the video, it looked like me fucking playing basketball.
Yeah,
it looked
one
like
of us spraining an ankle.
Seriously.
Plus in warm-ups of all things, too.
Yeah. Originally, I thought it was in OKC, so I thought, someone
that would have been
OKC was, pissed off that he hasn't came back.
They didn't wipe the floors down prior to warm-ups.
Wanted him to get hurt.
That's funny. The other big story in the NBA, the ongoing story, is Ja Morant. Ja Morant was flashing a gun sign right there. Not charged by Colorado police, which is big. He's also going into counseling. It was announced today. There's no timetable for his return. However, the fact that he was not charged by police is big because it doesn't seem like there's enough evidence to suggest he brought the gun on the plane through security. So it really, when he'll be back, it's really up to him, up to the Grizzlies, how much time they and he feels he needs away from the team. Sam, what do you think about this?
I think it's a good thing for him. I think it's good for him to get his head straight and his priorities straight because right now it seems like he doesn't really have his stuff together. So take some time away from the game and just kind of figure out his personal stuff before getting back to like his full-time gig. For the Grizzlies, this does hurt them a bit because this is their star, their leader of this club. And with the recent injuries with Brandon Clark going down for the season, this is, potentially what could lose them a deep playoff run.
Sam, I will say they are playing really good basketball without him.
They did have a big win last night against the Mavs, like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson played pretty well. Same with Dylan Brooks.
Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones as well.
Been good.
Very good player out of Duke. But as far as this goes, like making a big run in the playoffs without Ja, I don't know if they can do it.
Well, it seemed, since he didn't get charged through security, he's not going to get like the 50 games Gobert Arenas. Let's say he comes back right before the playoffs, misses a couple more games, gets going. What are your expectations for Ja and the Grizzlies?
I said this last week. I think their season's over. I still do think it's over. I know they're playing well without him, but I think this is just going to be something that lingers over them for this year. I think just interrupting their season like this, I don't think it's something that you can just shake off and move on as a team. So it's kind of like the Draymond Jordan Poole incident. I don't think they've recovered from it either. I know they've been without Wiggins, but both teams are just dealing with drama within the team that doesn't allow you to move forward into the playoffs or get to a championship.
I agree. It doesn't feel
the
right.
same as they were last year, because last year you could say they were legit contenders.
They had momentum
until the playoffs.
And also, too, I feel like I like Ja, like his game. I like a lot of guys in the Grizzlies. I feel like they're a little bit front runners. They're acting like, they're these fucking big shots. They're champions, like everyone has crowned their ass. They've never even been to the conference. They're a young team.
They almost lost to the T-Wolves. You can't talk shit, and the T-Wolves are like the 12th seed right now.
So that worries me too. And I think, everyone's probably gunning. I don't think they're a very well-liked team throughout the league because of the way they carry themselves. Brooks, Ja, those guys. So I think people are gunning for them. I agree with UT. I think if they get the wrong first-round matchup, like the Clippers, someone dangerous like that, they could be one and done.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not a believer in them. But a team that is playing well, Sam. I know Sam. Everyone knows Sam's the biggest Lakers fan. He's hit the LeBron pajamas. The Lakers, despite LeBron being out, they're playing well. They lost to the Knicks the other night, but they've been playing well lately. They're the 9 seed right now, and I believe they're 2.5 games back from being a 6 seed out of the play-in. Anthony Davis is he's been reborn. He's playing like Pelicans. AD D'Angelo Russell, since returning from injury, has been really good. Do you think the Lakers could make any noise here or get into the outside of the play-in even without LeBron?
I'm not sure about outside of the play-in. I did say that last week, but I mean, LeBron's similar to KD. LeBron's injury got downgraded a week, so they're going to reevaluate him a week early. I'm sure it's because it's an ankle injury.
Yeah.
Most players try to shake that off, and he's going to try and establish some new rhythm. But I really like this team around LeBron. Before Westbrook, it was virtually no shooting, and now they have shooting. And Vanderbilt's a lockdown guy for him.
He's a good energy guy.
He can guard the best defender, and it really looks good for them. So I do think they have a shot of making it deep into the playoffs. If let's say the Kings keep the second seed, and they play the Lakers as a 7 seed,
I know that's a dangerous series.
they're not. The Kings aren't going to be favorites.
That's upset alert.
So I guess it does depend on their matchup.
Now, Sam, what do you think about the Lakers? LeBron's been having a lot of dreams, Sam. Him and Jordan. You see that?
I have.
I fucking hate LeBron.
So the Lakers, I think they've been playing very well. It's good to see AD back to true form. So here are his stats over the last couple games. So
give it to us, Sam.
He recently had a 30-22 game. He had a 17-16 game. And then he also dropped 38 and 39 points in his most recent outings. So I'd say we're starting to see that former AD version of himself, which is very beneficial to the Lakers. That's why they went out and traded for him back in the day. And I think they're getting the help that they need from guys like D'Angelo Russell dropping 30-plus the other night.
I love D'Lo.
And then Austin Reeves as well. He's kind of their spark guy, their go-to guy. Dude, he is lethal, man. There's just something about him that, you watch him play, and he's just the guy. He may not put up big numbers, but he's more the guy that gets the team
impact.
going.
He's an energy guy.
He's their new Alex Caruso.
He's like the glue guy.
That.
You know what I mean?
Vanderbilt's an energy guy too.
He'll dive after loose balls. He'll go in, crash the boards, maybe throw down a dunk or two. He's phenomenal.
Well, I think both you guys made great points. I think the roster's better, and that helps with the morale of LeBron and AD. AD's probably mailing it in this roster sucks. We're not going anywhere. At least now they get a few guys, like you said, Malik Beasley too. And they're you know what? If we get rolling, we're playing. We may maybe have something here. We get the right matchup. I agree with you. I think their first round matchup will be very important because Denver, I don't know. Phoenix.
Denver's been slipping too.
Denver has been slipping. KD with Phoenix, but if they get like the Kings or like the Grizzlies, LeBron comes back. Anthony Davis keeps playing like this. LeBron's playing like LeBron. I mean, I don't think anyone would be shocked if the Lakers, made some noise in the playoffs.
This is something that Skip Bayless has been saying for virtually a year and a half now, but he's saying that Westbrook was a cloud over the Lakers, and it's clear that cloud has disappeared, and it's helping them. So
I love Westbrook. He was never a fit there.
Absolutely, yeah. Westbrook needs to be on a team with shooting.
Yeah. And they had no shoot. Like before the trade deadline, they had nobody
literally
who could shoot. So, yeah, Lakers, very interesting to watch going forward. They usually are. But two of the best players in the league right now, the two leading candidates for MVP is Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. A lot of controversy in the news lately. I don't know if you guys saw the Perkins-Reddick going at it. These guys are neck and neck. Jokic has won the last two. A lot of people thought Embiid should have won last year over Jokic. I'll go to Sam first. Sam, who do you think should be the leading candidate for MVP right now?
I think you got to look at it this way. You got to look at these two teams prospectively without them.
Okay.
So if you think about
you said this in the car,
how the Sixers look without Joel Embiid, like he's their leading scorer, leading rebounder, and then if you replace him with who they have, like coming off the bench, like Dwayne Dedmon and Montrezl Harrell, like they're not gonna put up the same efficiency.
Montrezl Harrell doesn't even get minutes for him. So.
Exactly. So if you replace them with Joel, they're not going to be the same team. Like, you look at that team, they're like, okay, they got a hole at center. We're going to exploit that matchup. So it doesn't look well in terms of the playoffs and the longevity. So I think I'd give the edge to Embiid in this one because I think Denver's team is more solid, more depth-wise, better.
Can you say the same thing about Denver, though, if you take away Jokic?
I would say that they have a better supporting cast.
Definitely.
So, like, they would definitely be, like, more of a mid-tier playoff team. They would not be, like, at the top of the West. But still, I think losing Jokic is definitely a big loss for them because then they'd have to rely more on that supporting cast of Murray, Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon to step up, and I don't know if they can do that.
You ever see the video of Jamal Murray and his girlfriend?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty ballsy of him to post that on his story.
I haven't seen that.
No, dude, he's getting
getting some top.
Oh.
Dude, he's topping off on the court and off the court.
Oh, nice.
That's why he performed well in the bubble.
Yeah, man. Jamal's winning on both ends. T, who do you think should be the MVP?
I'm really not a Jokic fan. I'm all Embiid on this. I know people are starting to say Jokic is a stat patter, and I'm actually falling behind that. I know did
Perkins say that?
I think it was. I
don't think Perk likes Jokic.
No.
So they asked him about it. I know post game they asked him about it, and he gave a snarky comment saying like, "Oh, I'm a stat patter. I don't make an impact on the court." Well, sure, I will not doubt how good he is on offense. He is a top 3, if not top 1, offensive player in the league. But there's two sides to the ball, and I can't remember their recent games, but they've been slipping and they've been losing to teams that aren't even in the playoff race, and it's because they're exploiting him on defense. He plays drop, but every center plays drop, and Embiid plays drop, and he's top 5 in defensive win shares. Jokic isn't even top 50. So I really think both sides of the ball matter, and as much as I want to say Jokic is 3x MVP, you need to have an impact on the defensive end to earn a 3x MVP.
I agree with that. I think defense in today's NBA gets overlooked so much. You know how hard it is to play both ends, dude? Embiid's putting up, he's the leading scorer in the NBA. I think he's putting up about 33 points a game. To put up 33, carry a team, and then to go bust ass on the other end versus a Bam Adebayo, versus Brook Lopez, Giannis, versus Jokic. I like Jokic. I like his game. I think as a pass. I don't know if I've ever seen a center who passes better than Jokic.
Yeah.
Some of the dimes it's insane. But like you said, the Nuggets are slipping lately. The Sixers playing the East. They're playing Milwaukee and Boston. The Nuggets really don't have they have okay teams in the West, but they don't have Milwaukee and Boston. And Embiid's just dominating. I think at this point, you asked me today, Embiid. Now I will say I do think it could change. You know what I mean? If Jokic goes on a tear, we'll see. But I think it's airtight. Me personally, but I'm with you. I would give the edge to Embiid.
And this is to go along with my stat padding argument. We all know this. During the regular season of the NBA, no one plays defense as hard as you're supposed to. Once the postseason comes around, refs will
Lock
allow
in.
the game to be more physical. They allow more defense. Games are not as high scoring. And obviously, both of these guys haven't made it too far in the playoffs, but at least Embiid has made it to the second round multiple times. Jokic is first round and done because he gets exploited on defense. And in the playoffs, it's defense matters more than offense.
I agree.
Versus in the regular season, it's all offense. We see teams score 150 points.
Well, even Giannis, like talking about like playing both ends, I think he should get. I know people have talking about it a little bit, but I think he should be kind of right there with these guys. I know he's missed some time, but dude, you talk about playing both ends. They're the best record in the league in the East. I mean, Giannis fucking dominates. So I think it should be these three like airtight, but it seems like it's probably going to be one of these two guys. Still deserving, but
yeah, well deserving, especially Embiid.
All right. Now time for everyone's favorite segment, Bleed Green. Our Celtics, our hometown Boston Celtics, been very up and down lately. They did beat Portland. T was at the game. They went down to Atlanta. They got a win over Trae Young and the Hawks. Then last night you lose to the Rockets. Rockets, one of the worst teams in the league. They're tanking for Wembanyama. And we went down. We lost. We're vying for a 1 seed. The Celtics have not been consistent at all since the All-Star break. It's been mostly down, a little up, then down again. Sam, what's going on with the C's?
Well, it's not a good time to see some regression like this. Over their last 8 games, they've lost 5 of them, and now their last 6 games, they've lost 4 of them, including a very bad loss to the Rockets last night. It's a very bad thing when the head coach comes out and says that he is not confident in this team right now. He's saying that, the state of the team right now, he is very unsure. They're starting to question, like, his abilities in this team. As you see, like, late game situations like Tatum taking that layup last night. You got to hit that layup in that situation. You can't brick that layup. You are an NBA superstar. You got a clean look at the basket late game. You need this bucket to bring it into overtime. And what do? You clank it. I mean, you don't get a more high percentage shot in that situation.
He missed one versus the Knicks, too.
I mean, it's an awful look. He doesn't really try on the defensive end of things. So, to see this team regressing right now and their star player isn't really producing for them, it's not a good sign.
T, what do you make of the Celtics' inconsistency? Even when they beat the Hawks,
they almost blew that game.
I was watching that game. They almost blew that. And versus the Blazers, they just had an incredible shooting night.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Celtics, dude?
So this is coming from someone who is not only a Celtics fan, but also a Rockets fan as well. I've been a Rockets fan for pretty much ever since Harden
the
went
Harden
there.
days.
So when I saw this game this morning, I said, what the fuck?
Dude,
what are the Celtics doing? And most especially, why are the Rockets even trying to win this game? Because we want the best player in the draft who could be the best prospect since LeBron. But to start with the Rockets, they got super lucky. Jabari Smith had probably his best night as a pro. He shot 5 of 6 from 3, and I think it was 12 of 16 from the floor. That's probably never going to happen again, so it was really a lucky-ass night for them. But to touch upon what you said, Joe Mazzulla says he just doesn't trust this team right now. While it is a negative thing for the team, I do think it's good because it might motivate them a little bit. Like, hey, your coach is losing faith in you. Like, it's time to wake the fuck up and, like, take these guys serious, because – as I said, the Rockets, they would have been better off losing that game. Every Houston fan would tell you, we'd rather have lost that game last night.
Wembanyama.
It's cool that they were close with a good competitive team, but also along with that, Tatum should have made that layup. I mean,
he should have.
It seems like last year he made the layup against the Nets to beat them in the first round, and now this year he's not making his layups to close the game.
He missed this one. He missed the one versus the Knicks. I agree with you guys. I think they need a fucking kick in the ass because they're kind of playing nonchalant. They're playing like they're sleepwalking out of the break, like they're just trying to coast to the playoffs, and which is fine, I guess, if like you can turn it on playoff time, start playing defense. But they're gonna lose the 1 seed probably now. And I'm sorry if you're in the East Finals, man, and you're playing Milwaukee, and it's Game 7, and it's in Milwaukee, and you lose.
That's going to be a tough-ass hell game.
We're going to look back and say it was their own fucking fault because they were in control and they let it slip. So I hope, that doesn't, it's an issue in Milwaukee. Something else happens. But if that situation happens, which I could see, they have no one to blame but themselves. And I just hope they get it. It's literally the opposite of last season. Last season sucked at the beginning. After the All-Star break, turned it on. This year, it's been the complete opposite.
Literally.
So I hope even with everything that's happening, not a good time to play your worst basketball, but they can still figure it out for the playoffs.
I know, it's brutal.
Terrible. So this is something I want to talk about specifically. Marcus Smart. I was watching the Atlanta game, and sometimes I watched it on mute and just listen to music just to kind of like really focus. And he was just making bad plays, taking bad shots, airballing threes like he usually does. And then I see he gets in a, whether Trae Young kicked him in the balls on purpose or not, it's kind of up to you guys what you think. But he put his hand on Trae Young, caused a big fight. He got ejected. Do you guys think Marcus Smart is a problem? I'll ask you, T. I'll just say they're so deep this year. They got Brogdon, they got White. I would be inclined to play Brogdon and White over Smart in these late game situations because I know those two are not going to take stupid shots and they're not going to blow game. Smart could win a game for you, good steal, charge, whatever, but he also makes careless plays. I'd be more inclined to play Brogdon, White, a little safer, a little smarter. T, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't be upset with them actually starting White and Brogdon over and just bringing Smart off the bench, because usually every game now he'll get an air ball from Smart, a couple bricks, and then he'll make one. So shooting 1 of 4 from 3, I'm sorry, that's not going to help win us games. That's only going to hurt us. And like you said, he's definitely going to help us in the playoffs with his defense. So that's when we'll need him. We don't necessarily need him in the regular season where there's not much defense, and it's not like Brogdon and White are bad defenders. They're both
really good,
really solid defenders as well. It's just Marcus Smart was a defensive player of the year, so he's a tad bit better, but it's not like we need that tad bit better of defense right now. And even if you do bring him off the bench, you can still let him close the game. Yeah. So I just think, that minor change might help us a little bit, but what do you think, Sam?
Yeah.
So he is what I consider kind of like the backbone of this team. Like, he's the guy that goes out there, gives it 110% like every night. But with his recent play, I think it's definitely hurt this team because he's not really putting forth that same energy. He's getting into scuffles like this, which is completely unnecessary. Like, you don't want to fucking hurt Atlanta's star player like that before the regular season is over. Literally, he fucking threw down Trae Young to the ground, and then it caused a big scuffle. Like, you don't do that. That's scummy shit. Like, you got to focus on winning games and focusing on the team, getting everybody else around you, like, buying into the culture. This is just more stupid shit. We witnessed this with Grant Williams the other night in Cleveland, talking shit to Donovan Mitchell, and now we got Marcus Smart doing the same kind of childish shit. Like, we just got to focus on the team, focus on winning games, and get back on track. We have no fucking time for this shit.
With Smart, it's such like good and bad because you fucking love him. You love the energy he brings. You love how much he cares. He's one of the only guys on the team to like get in people's face, call him out. And you love that. He's passionate about it. But at the same time, he takes stupid fucking shots. He does stupid shit that costs the team. Like, last year against Miami, he almost cost us a trip to the finals. If Jimmy Butler hits that shot, we would have looked back and said Smart blew the end of that game.
Yep.
And last season, you say, all right, you have to have him on the floor because what's the alternative? Brogdon White wasn't playing well. Now you have options. So if I was Missoula, some of these late games, I would, bench his ass, play Brogdon, play White, see how it shakes out, see how your team reacts.
I'm not even lying.
Play around with it.
Whenever he takes a shot, does anybody else say like, oh shit?
It's a
Do you literally say like,
cringe.
oh shit, as it's going up? Like, why are we taking that shot?
Two people I felt that about on Celtics, Marcus Smart and Olynyk. Olynyk was I fucking just hated Olynyk.
It's like, if you're not a good shooter, fucking work on it. You got to work on it to get better.
I just think that's not his game. You know what I mean? And he thinks it. He thinks he's,
people leave him open too. So they, people get in his head. It's like, oh, they're not guarding me because I'm not going to make it.
He thinks he's Steph Curry. You ask him, he's fucking Steph Curry.
He'll launch it from anywhere. He doesn't care.
I love him, but I think his play at the end of the games, his shot selection definitely, like it always is, something to keep an eye on. Unlike the Celtics, a team that's been playing their best basketball lately, peaking at the right time, has been the Philadelphia 76ers. Harden's playing really well. I think he was PO'd about not being an all-star. Embiid's playing his best basketball. A lot of the role players are having good games. T, I'll ask you, where do you think Philly shakes out in the East compared to the other teams?
They're really scary right now. I hate to say it, but I'm moving them over the Celtics right now just because the way they're playing. It goes the same with Harden. I mean, Jaden McDaniels has been huge for them. It does suck. I believe he rolled his ankle last night, but I think he should be fine. But with Embiid being the main option, defenses are focusing on him, and it's allowing Harden to, he shoots 40% from three now. I don't think he's actually ever done that in his career. So it's really showing that he's getting more open looks, and he's going to lead the league in assists. They have shooting. They have plenty of shooting, and I do think it's working really well for them. If you wanted to ask me in the playoffs, I think when it comes down to defense, I think the Celtics are better on defense than Philly. So, if they were playing in the semifinals or if Milwaukee somehow got eliminated and they played in the conference finals, I'm probably going to take the Celtics because they're going to have better defense. But right now, if you ask me this second, I think Phillies is looking a little bit better than the Celtics.
I mean, they're definitely playing better. There's no question about it. I mean, they're, I think, on a 5-6 game winning streak. I'm kind of the same. Like, they're playing better. I'd still put them third just because I think, come playoff time, I would pick the Celtics. And I feel like the Celtics play really well versus Philly. I don't know what Embiid's record versus Boston is, but I think it's the worst of any team in the league. But, dude, they're trending at the right time. Harden I've watched a little bit of Harden. He's been playing really well lately. I think he should have been an all-star over Halliburton. Sam, what are your thoughts on Philly?
So I think the floor for this team is definitely the second round, like the semis. And then I'd say the ceiling for this team, because I don't know if they have what it takes to reach the finals, is definitely the Eastern Conference Finals. Because I just don't know. Like T touched upon, like their defensive end, they're kind of like a liability. Like if they're not going to outscore you.
Got Tucker.
Yeah, if they're not going to outscore you, I don't know if they can, sustain like working both halves of the court, because they put a lot of their energy on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they got two of the best players in the league on their team, and they get production from guys like Maxey and Harris as well. And Harris has the ability to take over a game.
I mean,
We've
dude,
seen
Harris,
it against
he
the
can
Celtics.
give you 20 a game,
like easy, like in a hurry.
Dude, he's like the fourth guy. I mean, like you're right. He can pop off.
Philly, similar to us, they have a nice three-guard trio. They have Maxey, Melton, and Milton. That's
a good three.
Pretty similar to how we have with guards. They're not star players, but they're not even role players. They're kind of in between. They can give you
a solid
15 points a game, and they're solid on defense.
Dude, they got PJ Tucker too. He's been on plenty of those deep playoff. He might be the experience they kind of need, to get over the hump.
And the main reason I have Boston over Philly. I have Philly over Boston right now is because Robert Williams. We touch upon this almost every week now. He doesn't play as good against the Celtics because we have Rob Will on him, Now Grant Williams is out of our lineup, not like he was gonna guard Embiid anyways, because Embiid has at least 4 inches on him. But Blake Griffin can't guard Joel Embiid.
No,
and
Horford
does a good job, but we know how old he is.
Yeah.
He can't withstand that for a full playoff series. He would just get hurt.
No, if Time Lord's hurt, they're fucked.
Exactly. I mean, even if he needs to come back and be 90% of himself too. If he comes back and he's only 75% of himself, this year's version of Embiid might be able to toy with him.
No, I think you're right.
Because one of Embiid's main things this year is he averages like 10, 15 free throws a game. He gets to the line a lot because he just draws a double team and gets fouled.
He's bullying down low.
Yeah. And when Harden's doing his thing, I mean, who gets to the line more than James Harden when he wants to? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. In the opposite direction, a team that's trending way down, Dallas. Since I think in their last 10, they're 3-7, 2 something terrible. They lost last night to the Grizzlies without John Morant. They're now under 500. They're the 8th seed in the West. Good news for them. Luka and Kyrie are both expected back next game. They're both, minor injuries, but they are not playing well. They don't play fucking any defense. T, do you think Dallas? Was this a fucking mistake bringing Kyrie? What do you think?
I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was worth the risk, but this team's a first round exit. If they even can make it to the playoffs at this point, who knows? They might even slip their way out. But like you stated, they don't play defense, and in the playoffs, you need to play defense, because everyone's going to be playing defense on you, and they might have some good shooters, and they have these 2 star players, But what are you gonna do when you play two perimeter guards who can lock you down? It's not like Kyrie's a big guard. He's only 6'1", 6'2", so he's gonna have bigger defenders on him.
Get bullied,
and he's gonna get bullied. Luka plays really good in the playoffs, and he's able to probe in the lane and stuff and get his free throws. But Luka can only do so much, and he's not a positive on the defensive end. He's a negative, just like Kyrie.
They are so bad defensively.
It's just it won't get them anywhere.
They're bad defensively, and they're also small. I want to say if they get the right matchup, they might, but I don't think I'd pick them for any of the playoff teams in the West right now. And they got Kyrie and Luka, you might say like 2 top 20 players, but like the rest of the team sucks. They've both been hurt. They're playing bad basketball. I personally don't believe them. Sam, what do you think?
So I agree with you guys. I don't really see much coming out of this team come playoff time. I see their ceiling maybe being the second round at the most, and their floor is definitely the first round because I think they may be able to scrap a couple of games, maybe 1 or 2 games just by outscoring whoever they're matched up against. But they don't have any depth. We saw last night going up against the Grizzlies. They lost by double digits easily. The Grizzlies went on a 12-0 run at one point in the game. It was unbelievable. They don't have any offense without these two on the court. They were getting offense from Josh Green and the guard Hardy. I don't know his first name.
Jaden Hardy, yeah.
I mean, this team looks miserable out there. I'm not really sure what Cuban's thought process was making this move.
I mean, it seems like Luka kind of reporting is Luka went to the front office. It's I need another all-star player. And Kyrie was available. They made the risk. They traded probably the best defender, Dorian Finney-Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I agree it was worth the risk because Kyrie's a top-tier player. But, I mean, if you lose him free agency, you're left with nothing. Or if you pay him a ton of money, give him a long-term deal, and he does his Kyrie thing, gets hurt, or fucking, I don't know, wants to go lead a cult somewhere. You know what I mean? Who knows what he's going to you don't know with him. So, I don't know, man. I think the Mavericks might be in trouble this season and going forward.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the League Watch. Closing time. Now, we have a fan question. Very big fan of the program. I think you guys will be happy. Nice surprise. Let's check it out. Let's see what this fan has to say.
What's going on, guys? Justin here for question of the day. Who's one player that had their career get cut short that you wish you could have seen play out in its entirety, but you can't say Derrick Rose? Also, I love the show. Matt Sampson, the best host ever. I can't wait to see this episode. Thanks, guys.
Wow, what a nice guy. It's good question. What an upgrade from last week. What a good question, and what a good-looking guy. Whoever his girlfriend is, very lucky.
J-Lo,
there he is. That's honestly a good question because I feel like us, we've grown up, we would all say Derrick Rose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll give you guys a second to think. For me, personally, Brandon Roy, man. Growing up, dude, he was a fucking bucket. Brandon Roy he just scored, man. He was so good. He was so consistent. Hit that game winner versus the Rockets. And he, right when he was getting going, he got hurt. He retired at 27, dude. He was so good, so young. If he stayed healthy, had Aldridge, Lillard, they really could have been something. And I loved watching Brandon Roy. I'd go Brandon Roy. What do you think, T?
I'm going to go guard, too. I'm going to say Isaiah Thomas. Because he turned into an all-star player with the Celtics, and then as soon as he went to L.A., I don't know if he started clubbing, and that's when social media wasn't as prominent yet, but he was never the same, I mean, he's only 31 now, and if you follow him on social media, he still claims that he's ready.
That slow grind.
So, I mean, hell, I don't know why the Mavericks don't take a shot on him because they don't want defense. I mean, hey,
I know, right?
Let's have IT give us 15 off the bench, I mean, or even the Heat, because the Heat have 60, I don't know, 2/3 of their team is undrafted players. Why don't you take a shot on this guy, What do you have to lose?
Dude, he was so fun to watch. And he played with his full, heart on his fucking sleeve every night.
Because every time, I don't know about you guys, every time I'd watch him score or get
so
an
fun.
and one, it's just how is he doing that?
The little guy.
He's got the guy who's guarding him has half a foot on him.
He's shorter than us.
It's how the hell how the hell are you doing that?
Dude, and he was scoring on it. He put his hip into people, hit big shot, money player too, hit
Absolutely.
big shots.
Yeah, clutch time. He was huge.
Very clutch.
Dude, he was so fun to watch. What will you say?
So my pick may be a little bit out there, but I'm going to go Yao Ming.
Yao Ming, wow.
Now, the reason why I say this is because Shaq said even though this was, Shaq towards the end of his career, he was the toughest guy he had to go up against.
Yeah,
so imagine if he
undoubtedly.
had like a full-length career, like, double-digit seasons-wise, like let's say like a 12 to 15-year career, having him down low in the paint for the Houston Rockets, I think they could win a championship or two.
You think Yao could lead Houston?
Oh, 100%. He's giving you 10 and 10 every night at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was a big Amari Stoudemire fan. I was huge with him, and
He was
I was
awesome.
gonna say Shaq too, but I figured, because they at least had a good
Yeah, they had a run.
they had a good 5 to 10 years of their prime, and I mean it's just naturally gonna happen with big men just because they're larger humans. Their body's gonna break down
Yeah.
easier, but
Dude, honestly, I think Greg Oden would have been fucking good if he didn't get
yeah,
hurt.
I mean even if he was drafted now too, it's not like
Yeah,
this, people are much more advanced with taking care of people and stuff like that. So he would have had much better training than when he entered the league. So
Definitely. That was a good question. Derrick Rose, I think would have been my answer.
Yeah.
Because he was just so fucking
that's the first thing that comes to your head.
youngest MVP ever is just the fucking best. But great question by a great viewer. Keep submitting those questions, Justin, and everyone else. And that's all we got today. Thanks for sticking around. Another episode, NBA Sideline Edition. Remember, we're back every Wednesday at noon. Remember, this channel is completely viewer supported, so please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell your friends. We'll be back next week, repping the Celtics, talking hoops. All right.